Hey folks, Christian here, and you're listening to an NC Cutting Edge Counseling production. NCCEC is a trauma therapy practice based in North Carolina. Learn more at nccec.com. That's nccec.com. Content warnings and where to find us will be found in the episode description. Welcome to the show.
Okay, so.
First things first.
Here's the
world.
Round.
Fucking core memory.
Yeah.
Right there.
Okay.
Never forget.
Fucking kangaroos.
I am really tired. Well, then take
enough. Zen fire Z missiles.
Oh, man. Well,
Speaking of fire and missiles,
speaking of taking naps, welcome back to What's in the Box. Hello, we are back.
what's in the box is Eldon's trauma.
It do be in there.
No, I'm just pulling it out of the box. How's everyone feeling? This was another thick episode.
Well,
It was girthy.
I feel real good that Mish knows none of the information that I, Christian, know, because all of the things about the extra people being gone from the decimation has a little bit more info.
I mean, you guys could have known, but not a single person asked Malik anything.
No. Malik was the known withholder of
We
information.
didn't think Malik was going to die the next day.
You never do.
You never
Never
That's
do.
life.
and that's life.
Hey, look,
Hey,
you
go call your loved ones and tell them you love them.
Hey, look, try another seance, and
Or
you
tell
can try.
them you hate
You
'em.
can try to
You
ask
never
them.
know.
Tell them you hate them.
I will. I will.
In 10 days.
In 10 days.
Is it 10 days from the casting of the spell or to that singular person, or can you like seance one person and then seance?
It's from that singular person.
Cannot be
To that subject.
Yeah, I can do a
Gotcha.
seance tomorrow for someone else.
Okay, just not to that same
Yeah. Get
person.
filled up
Gotcha.
in here.
Yeah.
Just say hi.
Just
I don't
to
know that we
roll
need
another
me.
fucking 98.
or a 4. You never know what case he's
Yeah,
feeling.
right. Now he's going to flip it.
now it's gonna
or
be in the
maybe
middle.
a 50 to 60. We just cut it right in the middle.
Yeah, then roll a 55 to 60.
Yeah.
No, that was a fun episode. Also, bravo to both Kadima and Eldon for just completely subverting that whole encounter.
Yes.
That was well done.
As much as I wanted to take Ghevarax out for a spin, that was the
Don't worry.
perfect
Combat
way.
will happen eventually.
Oh, yeah.
combat will
encounter.
ensue.
Oh, I know, but
Fuck you.
it was gorgeous, perfectly executed. Like, bravo.
Shiver and quail.
Yes, we move in unison like a dance.
Yes.
Beautiful. No, that was great. For our listeners at home, the reason they fought a giant scorpion is because Jason came in and set a giant scorpion mini on the table in front of me, and I was like, "Well, I didn't have an encounter planned, but now I do."
Chekhov scorpion.
I was like, you know what? I'm sure a giant scorpion lives in these sewer systems somewhere.
It does now.
It does now.
It's your fucking world, man.
No, that was very well done. I enjoy it. I love when you guys can completely subvert an encounter like that. That's just great use of your features and all of that. Like, well done.
No, it makes sense too. Like narratively, we've had a lot of hard fights that we couldn't really get out of, and we're like, no, we don't have to.
Yeah, so, like, we don't have to fight. Why would we fight?
Yep.
Yeah, Eldon was
Party's
pissed
learning.
about that.
Yeah, we got
Eldon
sassy
doesn't-
Eldon.
Yeah, especially towards Mish. That was funny.
Oh yeah. Well, you forgot this part. I was getting there.
Yeah, like the second he's about to say the thing, Eldon's like, "Oh, don't forget that I was getting there."
I'm remembering a year and a half.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the 5th time Eldon's heard Mish go through the whole story.
Yeah, it made sense. He's like, "You left this one out this time."
Yeah.
And we're the only 2 people
No,
who know
don't
it
forget, this
anymore.
part's very important.
Which is, can I touch on that real quick?
Yeah.
Because, like, even though Eldon is not a bard anymore, why the fuck is Mish telling the story every time?
Because it's tradition.
It's not.
You don't fuck with
They asked
tradition.
you for a rendition of what happened. They didn't ask for, like, the person who say the most eloquently.
No, but I'm just like it.
Just because you have charisma or don't doesn't mean you
I'm
don't.
not talking
you can't
charisma. I'm talking character. Like that is Eldon.
So no. The reason I just did a Snyder thing. That no. The reason that Mish is the best for it because Mish will recount the facts of what happened.
Yeah.
He doesn't get emotionally attached to it. In him saying it, he might be emotionally attached to it, but he
recounts the facts.
He can compartmentalize.
He's a real big fan of bullet points. He's like,
this happened. This sucked. I did this,
which
but
is
it
nice because it gives you get the facts from Mish, and then you get the emotional significance from Eldon.
Yeah, because Eldon hates that Mish does that.
Yeah,
it's something I noticed and something that I find enjoyment in, but also
But to even piggyback off of what you said initially, it's so wild, and it's something I had to keep remembering, like in the role play of the character of being like, oh yeah, it's really just you two, just Mish and Eldon. It's like, oh, you guys.
I was listening. Like Ghevarax was listening to that story too. Yeah, like, he's like.
I think this is the third time Kadima's heard it.
Yeah. But like, it's such a fun thing for me to be like, yes, you two. You two are who we really want to meet. You guys you are part of us, and you have
the tail end. The tail end.
It's like it's not to call another
it's funny that you call it the tail end. I've been with the party longer than Malik was.
No, I'm saying the tail end of what they
but you'll
were
never be
asking
Malik.
about.
I know that.
Holy
Sassy Eldon has entered What's in the Box.
Yeah, we get Ghevarax in the beginning of the episodes, and then we get Sassy Eldon in What's in the Box.
But no, like of what she was asking about, like you were a part of the tail end of that. Like,
the tail end of the important
encounter.
things, but it has been with everybody longer. That's such a fun spot to be in.
Yeah. No, that was a lot of fun for me to keep being like, oh wait, no, just you guys. Yeah, I want to talk to you two. Like, I'll hear from you guys later.
And I said this before we were recording. Like, Kadima was purposefully, the second his name got brought up, had to push back on things and was wanting to like really poke and prod. Like, okay, we actually haven't done anything. What do you want out of us? Because everybody's saying we did all this stuff. No, we were two ships passing in the night with a god.
But that,
God killer.
And like she said, that's still more than most people can account for.
Yeah, most people don't walk away from seeing the avatar of a god. Most people don't walk away from
Let alone two.
Yeah, right. And is Nyx even a god? Like, god, goddess, whatever. Like, it's just very, very powerful entity.
Well, it's just another part of Shadow Weaver. There were two instances of Shadow Weaver there.
Yeah.
And then Malik and Abyssia.
Yeah.
So there two. One was split into two.
Which makes me even more curious as to whether or not all those other iterations of that increase are just other splits or splinter selves of Nyx.
Yeah.
Or any other.
Or if there's other, I mean, who's to say Nyx is the only other being out there that's outside of the 10?
Well, Casey.
Well,
Casey
we're not
is
talking to Casey right now. We're talking about
You asked to.
Is it like a one-to-one piece of like Nyx and Shadow Weaver are the same, or is it like parts of them that have their own personality to it as well?
Can you get into this a little bit already?
Maybe.
I think so. I'm just re-clarifying.
No,
Yeah, it is a kind of. The answer to that is like yes. Is kind of both, where it's just like these. You can kind of think of it as like the pieces that they're collecting, the book they got from the Mage Keep, the scale they got from Nori, the power they siphoned from Zelda's parents, are all part of the same whole. But because they were separated for so long, like the Nyx and the scale was not the Shadow Weaver that Zelda necessarily interacted with. It's different parts of the same consciousness in a way.
And then once it starts getting together, like the Shadow Weaver that Zelda met at the Mage Keep was not the same Shadow Weaver at like the first time was different than the one she met a couple of days ago, because now that those ones have joined other pieces.
It's more of a like yeah, and again, yes, but it's more of a like it's the same Shadow Weaver, but just now a more whole part. Like,
It's the same physical entity.
kind of like you said earlier, where it's like, oh, Shadow Weaver or Nyx. It's like, well, you can kind of call them both. They're both the same. It's just like, okay, well, does Shadow Weaver now start calling themselves Nyx now that they are more whole than they were before?
Or does Nyx start calling themselves
Shadow
Weaver?
Like,
It's a ship of Theseus.
Well, my question is, listen to that. It's more of, is Nyxalis the whole that these two entities are parts of?
Or
like
is there
Nyx is an aspect of Nyxalis. Shadow Weaver is an aspect of Nyxalis. That's what I was thinking.
Or is Nyxalis even still a fraction of the?
We're going to real Ouroboros situation over
I'm
here.
just saying, it's like
Is Nyxalis just the right leg of something bigger?
Right.
That was
Of
also
Exodia?
split?
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
We don't know,
we have
but
no clue.
that's the fun part of it.
Yeah. I love this kind of theory crafting.
I do too.
The world, the
you
universe is so much bigger than we
Storyboard.
even know. The history of this world that you've
Yeah.
created is just immense. And when you really start to get down the rabbit hole, like it could be not immense, but it could be insanely vast.
Yeah, I would say, speaking of
that's-
history and what Snyder was talking about earlier about like knowledge that he has that he can't talk about, Eldon is now getting in the form of visions and watching from somebody else's perspective
Yeah.
Malik's
Yeah.
backstory.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder what that looks like. What did that look like looking into that Twilight Sanctuary, seeing Malik and seeing him like turn? Because I only ever knew about him killing the people in the Twilight Sanctuary. I didn't know what happened outside of this.
Yeah.
We just know that he eventually makes it back for Abyssia to be upset that he was taken over.
Yeah.
We don't know what he does when he leaves and how terrifying it looked when he turned and looked at this person. Now looking at Eldon, looking at this.
And this
from
was Malik with the red eyes, right? Not with
Yes.
the black.
It wasn't specified, but
Okay. Well, I'm assuming because
I still have the lost episode. We can figure it out, but
Yeah.
this is. I think it was different than when Abyssia took him over.
right, because I thought we touched on it.
And I
in
can
the main
touch on
feed.
this because this doesn't really break anything. In my head, it was because there's a point, and I think we've done this flashback not in the last episode. This happened in our current canon, where when Malik asks the head priest, like, why can't we let why can't we let people in? In my head, that was that moment where Malik is looking outside of Twilight Sanctuary, seeing people beating against the wall.
That's what I
being
thought.
like, why can't we let people in? And now we know that
Yeah.
Cassandra, who Eldon knew, was one of those people.
Was
That-
Cassandra close enough to like see the expression on Malik's face?
Yeah. Yeah, probably. I mean, this is what you get in the what's in the box. Yeah, I mean, just distraught and like sadness and stuff like
And
that.
compassion.
Compassion, just like almost one of those things where it's like you touch the glass, like they're just banging up against it, like he's like trying to will them through this wall to like help them, but can't.
But
It's kinda sad
I
he's
think
dead
it's
now.
it's less so that they can see the expression, like Malik's expression is telling it. It's seeing his compared to the elders that are stoic. And he's like, you're getting more from his expression because of every other person is like, this is what it is.
Yeah, this is.
It
sucks to suck.
more through just the comparison.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love it.
Oh yeah, but how you feeling, Haley? You're regretting going
Oh no,
for witch yet?
it's good. It's good for me on a like therapeutic level as well.
He's like, I should have done this sooner.
Say no more.
Yeah, I get to feel more emotions in a distanced way. Yeah, I mean, no, that was very intense. I think that like knowing the expression on the face and stuff is going to be important. And I'll need to like start off the next episode with like what this looked like when Eldon was viewing this.
And this is also somebody you know.
Yeah.
Like deeply.
Yeah, spent a lot of time with.
Yeah.
Who was part of the group that chased you out
Yeah.
of the circus?
Yeah, but she didn't want to.
You know, when the mob happens, it's kind of like
Yeah.
you join or die.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Defend
Well, and, like,
mob mentality. Why
was
don't
that
you?
was that in the secret
That
episode?
might have also been
That's
in
a
the
secret
secret
episode.
episode, too.
That's a lot. Some of the stuff I'm trying to do is trying to bring stuff from our lost pilot into canon.
Almost positive we touched on that. No,
I don't think so, because I think we ended up using the Ghevarax flashback.
Yeah.
There's
brother.
been so many flashbacks.
There have been so many flashbacks.
A lot of flashbacks.
And now I,
Yeah.
now
I'm
I
a
need to
big fan of
actually
flashbacks.
maybe dust off the secret episodes to start pulling audio from that.
Yeah.
Nah, I think we're good.
It would be cool
It'd be cool if we found the good parts of it.
if we find the good parts of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, oh, sorry, no, go ahead.
Oh, in that, like, his experience leaving the entertainment troupe, like, he didn't wish anything bad on them or feel bad towards any of the people that he was, like, friendly with. Like, there was a group that, like, wanted him gone, and he, disliked that, but it was like, okay, I'm gone now.
Yeah, just like I've had that. I've wanted to introduce Cassandra back into the story, both for one to make her, canon in our actual canonical released episodes, but also because it's such a good part of Eldon's backstory for one, of just being in that traveling troupe, of one of your close friends there, but also it's one of Eldon's ties to the decimation and how like all that happened. Like it's directly had an impact on Eldon. And then once I decided like the Varia was going to be a thing, I was just like, oh, well, who might have joined the Varias? Another person with a grudge against the gods and the decimations.
Also, Casey loves things that start with V. We have the Varia, Vadon,
Velostia.
Veneranda.
Hey, look, I just type things into Fantasy Name Generator, and apparently I just like the ones that start with V.
It's okay, I do the same thing with X.
That's fair.
Ghevarax.
Don't always start with X, but usually have X in it.
I never start with X.
I mean,
That
I
website's
have a lot of K's.
You mean Twitter?
Yeah, I do mean Twitter. It was just funnier to make it the joke.
The app formerly known as Twitter.
The everything app?
Forever known as
I
Twitter.
might actually cut this part out. I don't ever want to talk about Twitter or any of that stuff. Fuck that dude.
Give them no shine.
Yep. They don't get any of our airwaves.
Fuck Elon Musk.
That's right.
Now you gotta leave it in.
That guy's a
No, I think that would be even more dangerous to leave in.
Yeah.
We'll get shut down.
But yeah, no, that was a lot of fun. So yeah, I've been sitting on that waiting to bring that in for a fun little flashback, and then
Hell yeah.
yeah, the floodgates on Eldon's visions they opened up, and
It's 2 today.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
Was it?
wait,
I think it might have been 3.
3 today?
What?
Because there was one when we touched.
yeah,
What was a sound, but
Well, no, you
had
heard
information.
You heard a voice, or no, I had heard a voice
You heard
when
a
we
voice.
touched.
you guys
You heard
the
a
sound.
voice when we touched.
yeah, I had vision of the
And when the 3 of us
hourglass.
touched, I got
Blasted. Yeah, that thank you all for always testing my ability to improv the insane shit you do. I was just being like, well, I'm gonna touch shit with this arm now.
I'm going to touch this power outlet.
We like to push buttons just to see what happens.
And I love figuring out what happens when you push those buttons.
Yeah.
well, because we started to get more of the like little bit. It just started to feel like a little electricity every time I was like touching people, and I'm mostly curious about Vadan and him having like an emptiness to him.
Because he's, I think my theory is because he is not of the material plane like at all, and so you don't feel like he's not connected to the gods at all.
Well, so what I was trying to get out of it, the thought process behind doing it to Vadan was to see if there was any connection to any gods on the astral plane.
Right, and I figured that was the case, but I think
That
I
aren't
think
the 10, like our 10.
right, and I think just my theory is the emptiness is that
Lack of
they're not part of, or at least not anymore. There's no connection to the astral sea from the 10, and so you felt nothing because you have nothing to draw from because there's nothing there.
If only you'd pass that check.
I'm glad I didn't. Yeah. Because that just gives us more room to explore things.
Yep.
I'm curious if it registered for Mish that Eldon is now like supporting the Punching Gods plan. Because he forever
absolutely.
was like, you can't do that.
I noticed that too.
Yeah.
And there's like, we're doing this.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just sitting here like,
Yes.
I knew this would happen. If I keep staying on the course, people are going to realize, wait a second, this might actually be possible. Because again, I'm utmost confident in my ability to try my best to find a way to do it.
I love.
There's no failure.
I love how against the Varia that Kadima has been, and then just like what do you stand for or whatever, and you're like, the people. It's like, that's exactly what they stand for too. It's just really funny.
It was I was specifically testing them.
Yeah.
That was all like basically for show.
Well, there's that, and I assumed it was them starting real strong and heavy with so I know your dad. And I was like, all right.
But we kind of knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, but
I mean, yes, it was a little bit of that, but it was also kind of like Kadima very much so wants to think for himself. And if these people are just like, hey, join us because you survived this thing, you're now one of us. And I was like, that okay? Like, what do you mean? Okay. And he and we hadn't gotten much into it, and I kind of alluded to it in the episode that like he's not a big fan of being a part of big organizations. He doesn't like where he's coming from, and was kind of like, I stand by what my grandfather did, but if push comes to shove, I'll fuck him up too. And I know he would do the same thing.
Yeah.
I love
and
that.
I'm itching for a chance to beat the shit out of my dad.
Can I say, but my dad?
My dad is
On site.
on site when the time is right.
Yeah.
He's gonna catch these hands.
Yeah, he will. And and I'm glad that we had a moment like that now, because we had the one with Nivas earlier that was just the two of us.
Yeah.
Where like Nish and Eldon got to hear like out loud where he stands.
Yeah. Like in the moment.
Yeah. And not just like, hey, we're all on this boat. Whose side are you on? Are you picking a side? This was like, I am picking a side, but not because the side is presented to us, but because it's the right side to be on.
It's really almost those things of like, almost even not picking a side. It's like, I'm picking my side and my people's side. Like, but and that my side just happens to be aligned with your side, so we can walk in step.
And when that doesn't align, we're done.
Yeah. That's one thing I wanted to do, like when I introduced the Varia. I didn't want it to have to be like, oh, well, you guys work for this organization. Like that's the whole campaign now. It was very much, I wanted to give you guys one more chance to just get more information about, because again, in not the secret episode, but in the lost recording, Nivas gave y'all a lot more information than they did in the one that released.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need to get that information to you guys in a different way. And I was like, okay, cool, the Varia can do that. I had already been planning on it. But it's also that thing of like being able... It's a narrative thing, but it's also a podcast thing where it's like, okay, cool. Now whenever you guys do travel to a new city, you guys have someplace to start. It doesn't always have to be like floundering around to figure out what's going to go next. It's like, it gives you guys just a
set of contacts, basically, across the world.
And I knew that was the case. That's why, like, that was another reasoning for pushing against it too, because it was the thing of like, I mean, listening to this, and I mean, obviously this is all improv.
Yeah.
We've made that apparent through everything, all the choices that we make, and by us trying to think of words on the fly. But it was that like I trusted Casey was putting, like, he's not gonna give us this thing because it's he's trying to fuck us over. So I'm gonna question it a little.
Yeah.
I'm gonna push back on it a little bit, and it was very interesting to see. I thought there'd be more pushback from like Eldon and Mish and possibly Gev, because Kadima we came into this meeting, we'd already discussed like, oh, we got to go here, we got to join these guys because they're against the gods. I thought you guys were going to push back on me for being like, why the fuck do you want us?
Gev wouldn't, because he doesn't know you. But he did, I mean, push back as Varia. Like, he was like, no, like, he sounds like you're perfectly in line. Like, he's like, but see, Gev is, and he even said it when he was introducing himself. He's like, I am Varia, or at least I was. And like, he said that in the episode because, and yeah, he wants to get back to his people, but also like, he doesn't know if he has a spot here yet. You know, I mean, he kind of assumes, but it's been almost 40 years.
Yeah.
You know, who knows if he still actually has a job, if he still works for them. And it kind of through this meeting sounds like he does, but and that'll be interesting too if like Gev actually works for them and the rest of you guys are just like partners. You know, that'll be a little bit of an interesting dynamic. Not a difficult one, but it'll be an interesting dynamic, I think, because you know it's like, well, yeah, I work for the Varia, but I'm helping these guys. Like, I am kind of the connection. If you guys aren't working directly for them, I'm like the liaison, you know?
You and I are in the same boat, except it's for Alpha Rest. I work for Alpha Rest, but I'm with.
Right. Yeah. And so it's a really cool dynamic, I think, with all of these.
Except you like working for the Varia. I fucking hate doing what I do.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a perfect juxtaposition, honestly. It's great.
More mirror iconography.
That was the question I had. How the fuck did Gev find a Gith artifact?
Look, Gev was sent on a mission for information and was sucked into this mirror. He's very, very much believes he was set up. He doesn't think it was a coincidence.
What's funnier is it was.
It might have been. Yeah, it might have been. But he doesn't think that.
That mirror is the thing that makes the whole timey-wimey thing weird. It does, because if Vadan is from 8,000 years in the future, or 8,000...
You cannot... It is not future.
No.
It is
but
past.
Either way, there's a minimum of a 3,000 year discrepancy.
Yes.
And how did that mirror get onto the material plane?
And it can't be, because I asked him in this episode, how does time work there? What is a day to you?
And he said it's the same.
It's the
same.
exact same.
So there is a 3,000 year discrepancy between our time and what he thinks it is. And like, so how did it get here? If that ship was destroyed and he was pulled into the mirror, how'd it get here? It's weird.
Real quick, Snyder, just run through with me the what if it is the future, and now he is back here.
So you're asking me?
Yeah.
How do I justify?
Just playing it out because you don't know. I'm being serious. Just play it out with me. Like,
okay, so let's
Improv.
let's think about this.
You're immediately knowing it.
Well, no, I'm assuming. Let's
Hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's make let's just posit that they are from the future, and the gods somehow lost.
They're in a metal ship.
Yes,
It's just a spaceship.
It's just a nautiloid ship. Let's just posit the fact that they are in a fight with the gods on the astral plane. Meaning the gods are either fledgling or have been weakened to the point where they need to fight another entity in this area. Which is more likely that they are now coming as invaders into the space, or that they were beaten down so badly that they can be combated by other mortals.
Counter argument. He said they were swallowing planets. What if they got too big for the mortal plane and spread into the astral sea? And that's why it's the future, because
If
If it's the future, we fail.
it's the future,
and if they're swallowing planets, our world is nothing to that.
how did it get back though?
Exactly how.
I'm not saying you have to answer it.
No. But I'm saying it's the most logical thing is that it was in the past.
You're talking logical in D&D.
I mean, but like we don't need
With
to
time travel now.
The mirror may not
not-
have moved. The inside of the mirror, time could be fucked up. So if you go into the mirror somewhere, you end up like if it gets broken somewhere else.
Well, yeah, time doesn't pass in the mirror. That's like that's the whole thing. Time,
It's like
But it could be like soupy in there.
the quantum realm.
and it is. It is very soupy. That's how I kind of feel. Because like the way that I'm picturing it is like
What is
Ghevarax never
the
slept.
exact wording
Never
of
ate.
the mirror?
He read it, but
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I still have it. It's in my
Yep.
notes.
But I remember something about time doesn't
We
pass.
create this world together.
I'm-
That's what
yes.
D&D is.
I'm attempting to use a logical point to understand things.
It's not about logic. It's
The
about
mirror?
emotions right now.
Niche and Eldon have entered what's
Everyone breaking the fourth wall.
No, Kadima's staying over there.
So the mirror contains 12 extra-dimensional cells, each infinite and empty. A creature inside a cell does not age and does not need food or sleep. A successful DC 20 perception check reveals a faint hint of a face of a trapped creature. When looked into by a creature, that creature must make a DC 15 charisma save or be sucked into a cell. Breaking the mirror or casting a spell such as Dispel Magic or an anti-magic field release all held creatures.
Okay, so time does pass.
It just doesn't pass for you.
Right.
So that's not saying, oh, you're sucked back in time or anything. So that means time continues.
But
Since time is, this is my understanding, as we know, with is the information that we have.
yes.
We're operating on information that we have. Time progresses linearly forward. So the logical thing is that it was so long before we started recording our time when this battle happened. My thought is that the gods were coming and were conquering these locations. The queen of this Githyanki empire was attempting to leave, go into the known safety of the mirror to escape what was about to happen, hoping that time with its progression would be able
Somebody
to
would break it later.
and break it later and be able to some form of resistance.
Do we know that this mirror is the only mirror?
No, I don't know that one.
We got no clue.
So
And your weird thing is that it somehow got shunted back in time to pick him up 40 years ago.
it's not weird. But to that point of what something that you brought up was they got beat and got sent back over to the thing. Why, if they're devouring planets in the future, they're now here causing these like little tiny beep, fuck these 10% of people.
yeah.
If they were devouring planets
Yeah.
in the past.
Maybe the astral sea is actually really small.
Goes against everything. Well, it's just revealed.
that is
It's the
That's a
quantum
wild
realm.
thing. That's a wild
It's
thing.
really small.
What if it's really
It's
small?
like in Men in Black, and there was that whole universe inside
Inside
the
of the
cat's
things, yeah.
collar.
It's true.
Yep, the galaxy
It's
is
just
around
funny
his
because it
neck.
goes against everything the Vodon said. It's like, this place, time passes normal, but it's massive. But what if it's really small, though?
He would think it was big.
I mean,
He was
perception is
awesome.
reality. So.
That actually makes a lot of sense for their way of traveling because of like folding the paper. If they're in a really small thing and they come out into the like scale changes when they come out into our world.
That's why the buildings
move
would look so
like
big.
a day and go there, and then they can move weeks in their space.
So
maybe it is really small.
well, if we want mechanical thoughts about this, I'm gonna bring what we know about the Astral Sea from the Spelljammer source book. Spelljammer helms, which are used to pilot Spelljammer ships, give you the capability of moving 100 million miles in 24 hours.
But
Think about, no, I'm saying, like, if you have to move that much distance, and that's like a day, that area is infinitely large.
Yeah,
but
'cause you're
scale
really
is
small.
relative.
Infinite expanse of space. Next episode, we're talking theoretical physics.
Apparently, my favorite part is
Actually,
I know
quantum
the
physics.
answer.
Ghevarax will sit out
He's
of that
never
one.
going to admit to me what it is.
Ghevarax will sit out of the quantum physics. I'll do philosophy all day, but
My only point is that it is way more reasonable that it is time is progressing forward, and that was from a different measurement of time. That was not because the gods came and then we started using the gods' measurement of time. So it was before the gods' measurement of time. So it's 8,000 years of the Githyanki's time measurement into our 4,999 years of God measurement of time.
I disagree about it, but that's
Please give me any logical reason why you think this. A single thing, a single one.
it doesn't have to be
Imagine-
It doesn't have to be
Imagination.
logical. I'm not trying to assume anything based off of anything else yet. We don't have information about it.
We are getting so far into the fucking weeds.
We have 2 points.
Okay, love you. Bye.
I'm with Haley on this one. Okay, love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye. The hardest cut.